So, we're going to cover breath in this video and how knowing how to use it can help you improve as an actor when it comes to creating truthful characters. I'll talk you through the ways that you can use this skill in rehearsal and performance and give you the building blocks you need before giving you the chance to try out the techniques for yourself. So strap in, watch the video, and get ready to pick up a few top tips that will help you to become a better actor. Hey, I'm David and welcome to 5 Minute Acting Coach, your complete online guide to acting training wherever you're at. Like so many elements in acting, performers sometimes forget to purposely consider breath as a tool. We focus on breath maybe as a device for vocal projection, which of course it is, but we can forget that beyond that, the control and the manipulation of breath can offer the actor a wide range of important opportunities for characterization. Now, when we breathe, we're pumping blood around our bodies, we're feeding our brain and feeding our organs. Breathing powers and energizes us, and we breathe because we have no choice. It's a fundamental and physiological prerequisite of human existence. And it's also one of the very few physical actions that every human being shares. And that makes it a powerful tool for an actor to use to connect with other human beings on a physical and an emotional scale. The way that we breathe is recognized by everybody. So thinking about breath in relation to character creation when we act is absolutely fundamental to our success in creating characters that the viewer will interpret as truthful. Now, from a technical perspective, from a creative perspective, and from a practical perspective as well, the active use of breath in the acting process is an essential piece of the toolkit. Changing the rate, depth, and audibility of our breathing sends signals to an audience, helping them to more clearly understand the character's emotions or situation. And most importantly, when we know how to manipulate our breathing to communicate specific meaning, we're one step closer to more effectively fooling the audience into believing that what they are seeing is truthful. And the better you know how to use the tools, the better you'll play the game of acting. And the game of acting is to learn how to pretend the best you can. After all, acting is not a state of being, but a state of appearing to be. When an actor consciously engages their breath, what they're actually doing is engaging the whole of their body. And in doing so, the act of speech becomes a whole body activity. And that, by definition, engages and empowers not only the voice, but the rest of the body as well. And when an actor connects breath to voice or to thought, to movement, it allows an audience to believe that the character they are seeing in front of them is complete. And that's going to make them truthful and convincing too. Most of the time in life and on stage, our breathing is unconsidered. And when we do actively focus on it, it can become laboured. It can lack technique, or it can even get in the way sometimes of the freedom that an actor needs. Now, this is as close as we'll get to vocal technique in this video, but think of your breath as coming from right down in your pelvis, at the centre of your core, being supported by your legs. And imagine your breath coming straight up and out through your mouth, gathering speed and picking up sound on the way. Think of your mouth as an amplifier or a resonator, just like the sound escapes from the body of an acoustic guitar through the resonating hole under the strings. The point is that often we think of our breath as coming from our chest, or even worse, from our throats. But when an actor realizes that their body, their breath, their emotional range, vocal stamina, and their creativity are all connected, well, then they're able to develop a higher level of communicative awareness. When you build this awareness into the creation of character, you're on the right track. Great actors, like great singers, will plan their use of breath in order to be able to sustain a piece of dialogue right the way through to the end. So, now, consider this line. Try saying it all in one breath. You'll probably find that by the end, you're struggling to project the dialogue as well as you did at the beginning. Now, there are lots of creative reasons for not taking a breath in a sentence like this. Perhaps you want to build the tension of the outcome. Maybe you want to show that the character is too upset or engaged to remember to breathe. It could be that you just want to be able to take in a deep breath at the end to signify an emotional response, and you want that breath to be earned. Of course, being able to sustain the lines of dialogue you speak with a foundation of breath gives you freedom as an actor. You can make choices that you think best suit the character, and you won't be limited by lack of breath. Your audience deserve to be able to hear the whole of your dialogue too. I mean, how many times have you heard actors not sustaining their breath and fading out at the end of a sentence? Now, check out this helpful exercise. We're moving now from some technical considerations to some more creative ones. It's important to remember that when you alter the rate and the depth of your breathing, it will change the physical foundation of the character, and it'll establish a different tempo. Breathing at a slower rate will automatically provoke a desire to work at a slower physical tempo, and this can be ideal depending on the context. Similarly, a higher rate of breath will energize the physical tempo of the character. Now, rather than this being left to chance or to instinct, why not explore different rates of breath and the levels of physical tempo that they inspire, and consider how these could be best employed depending on the action or the dialogue that you're working with. Where you feel the physical energy needs to change, don't start with the body, but establish the pattern and rate of breath that will best inform the physical pace you feel is right, and then let the body follow. Check out the following two examples. One is a situation, and one is an extract of dialogue. Which rate of breath would you establish for each in order to be inspired to develop an appropriate physical tempo? Can you work through a speech or even an entire text, planning the rate and depth of breathing specifically to help define contrasts in physical tempo? Well, here's the situation. Your character enters, having recently awoken from a peaceful night's sleep. A letter from their mother is waiting on the kitchen table. Your character makes a drink and sits at the table before opening the letter. And here's the dialogue. I've just discovered something that will change our lives. Do you remember my great aunt June? She died last month and she's left me $5 million in her will, but there's a condition to me getting the cash. I need to be married by next week. So will you marry me? Most importantly of all, the way we manipulate our breathing can help us communicate the truthful illusion of emotion to an audience. And if an actor can do that, well, they're on the right track to convincing an audience to fully suspend their disbelief. So spend some time now breathing at different rates and make a note of the emotions that each one arouses in you. It can be a really powerful exercise, and the results, well, they can take you by surprise. Typically, the faster and the shallower our breathing, the more excited and anxious or emotional our response. The slower and deeper our breathing, well, then the calmer and more assured our emotions become. Every individual is going to respond differently and you'll feel things at a different rate. But as an actor, the important thing is to learn which emotions are aroused in you at different rates and depths of breath, to recognize the attitudes and emotions of the character that you're exploring. And those can change pretty rapidly in a short space of time, and to practice applying the corresponding rates of breath in rehearsal. This generates not just a form of truthful emotion in you, but communicates a powerful emotional truth to an audience, which is the ultimate goal. And it might feel manufactured, even a bit clinical, to prepare the work in this way, but plotting your emotional journey through a speech or scene is a valuable aspect of textual analysis, and linking it with the creation of emotion through breath is a vitally important aspect of the craft of acting. A classic example is to take shallow, faltering snatches of breath on a single in-breath, and then to follow this with longer, deeper pulses of breath on the out-breath. Repeat the sequence a few times and think about how that makes you feel. Now, if you felt upset and emotional on the short in-breaths, and maybe you felt as though you could laugh or release on the out-breaths, then you were completing the exercise pretty properly. The next step would be to voice those breaths, and it's a great example of how we can use breath to manufacture an emotional response and to communicate that response to an audience. So here's a famous monologue for you to explore, and you can pause the video or you can just head over to 5minuteactingcoach.com and grab all the resources that you need for the whole of this video, in fact. Try to find moments where you can sustain the breath through multiple lines, and then play around with ways in which the use of breath can inform your physical performance. Now, when your rate of breathing quickens, can you match or contrast that with a change to your physical tempo? Can you define the emotional quality of the text at certain points and then work backwards to identify patterns of breathing that generate similar emotional states in you? All right, thank you so much for watching. I'm humbled that you took the time to stay with me, and do let me know if you've been inspired by this video. If there are other videos you'd like to see on the 5 Minute Acting Coach channel. And last of all, a cheeky request, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and to check out 5minuteactingcoach.com for tons of great free acting resources, and if you wanted to book a live one-to-one online coaching session. Okay, good luck out there, and I'll see you next time.